What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog, back in Standard with a Jund list called Jund Flash. So obviously we've seen Simic Flash and Dimir Flash, things like that, but Jund is something that I've been kind of playing around with off and on for the last several months. I think I've posted at least one other version of this before, but here's kind of an updated version. I want to give it one more go before, you know, obviously rotation. Because we're losing a lot of key spells, so we're trying to leverage a combination of haste creatures and flash creatures in Jund colors, which isn't really something that you see. So we have things like Knight of the Evil Legion, which doesn't have either of those, but does have this 3-mana activated ability for the +3/+3 Death Touch boost. So basically the idea is to attack in with like creatures like this, and then have open mana, and your opponent doesn't necessarily know what you're going to be doing if you're going to activate your Knight of the Evil Legion, or if you have an Embercleave, or if you have some other spell you want to play. And just trying to make it a little bit tricky on your opponent to kind of how they want to proceed. That's kind of the basic idea. That's why I like light on the Ebon Legion. And especially if we're kind of running more of a base blacklist, then we can afford to have like all these 1-drops. Not just Knight of the Ebon Legion, but also running 3 Thieves Guild Enforcers. It's a obviously a 1/1 with Flash Human Rogue. And whenever it or another rogue enters, we get to mill 2 cards from our opponent's side, and then once there's 8 or more, then it becomes a +2/+1 and Death Touch. So just 3 copies, because we're not really doing a whole lot of rogue synergy, but it is a flash, and it can be pretty nice value as a 3/1 creature for 1 mana. We do have the Robber of the Rich, which is one of our hasty threats. Just a nice value creature, of course, on its own. 2/2 Human Archer Rogue can be a potential source of card advantage using your opponent's library. We have 2 copies here of Blacklance Paragon as a 3/1 that you can flash in to give another Knight, Death Touch, and Lifelink until end of turn. We have the Knight of the Ebon Legion, and then we're also running a couple copies here of the Murderous Rider, and 2 copies here of Liliana's Standard Barrel, which we'll talk about a little bit more. So we have some some Knights that could just potentially hit with its enter the battlefield trigger. But most specifically, it's of course the Knight of the Ebon Legion, and just the fact that it's a 3/1 flash makes it, I think, worth looking at in this list right here. 2 eliminates, 2 Heartless Act, just kind of trying to have some versatile removal. 3 Robber of the Rich, since we are 3 colors. Just want to make just don't want to be all in on 4 and then be stuck on red mana or something like that. So 3 feels pretty solid. 2 Wildborn Preservers we can flash in. It has reach. And anytime a non-human enters, we can pay X to put additional counters on the Wildborn Preserver. So again, just kind of creating these situations where we have open mana and we're attacking in, and our opponent doesn't necessarily know what we're up to. We could flash something in. We could, you know, pump this up, and now our opponent had already committed to blocks, but then the Wildborn Preserver gets bigger out of nowhere, and now their creature dies and our creature lives. Collision Colossus is pretty clutch. You know, its speed +4, +2, and trample. It's pretty powerful. So even though we're running things like you know, 3/1 creatures like these two, well, if you give them +4 and trample, then we don't really care. And then you get the 2 toughness boost, so sometimes that might even be just enough to save them. Mostly we're just trying to push across damage with creatures and some of these little tricksy things as quickly as possible. Of course, Murderous Rider is a nice value creature on its own, and like I said, we're kind of focusing more slightly towards black, so the double black here doesn't really shouldn't be too difficult, even though we're running 3 colors. Gruul Spellbreaker is pretty splashable, since it's just 1 red, 1 green. 3/3 Riot Trample, so you can have it come down to the 3/3 Haste and start swinging in immediately, or you can have it come down as a 4/4. Either way, it has Trample, which is pretty sweet. Of course, Nightpack Ambusher works really well. We have some nice flash threats, but we do have lots of hasty threats as well, so we're not always going to be having the ability to not cast anything and get the wolf token, but obviously in the late game is pretty insane to just kind of take over the game in a lot of matchups. But just 2 copies, as it is, you know, kind of our top end here at 4 mana, and not everything we do is at flash speed. We have 2 copies here of Quest Beast, just of course a hasty threat, just tons of value. And then finally 2 Embercleaves as another kind of a tricky thing that we can do to kind of force across damage, and so we don't care that we have, you know, a 3/1 creature like these 2 in particular, because we're just cared about the fact they have high power, and that's all that we're really concerned with. So mana base, 3 Swamps, 2 Mountain, 2 Forest, 4 Blood Crypt, 1 Temple of Malice, 4 Overgrown Tomb, 1 Temple of Malady, 4 Stomping Ground, 3 Fabled Passage for some additional fixing. So just trying to keep the tap lands to a bare minimum so we can be as aggressive and play on curve as possible, since we are an aggro list, but it's tricky to do in 3 colors, but we're going to make it work. A couple Kitesail Freebooters, you know, look at our opponent's hand, take any non-creature, non-land card, their sweeper, or targeted removal, or planeswalker, and kind of slow down their game plan. Could be just enough for us to close out the game before they can really get to what they need. a couple heroic interventions to protect our board state, a couple return to natures for some targeted enchantment and artifact hate, a couple assassin's trophy just to kind of kill anything. Depends on what our opponent is doing. If they have a variety of threats, then obviously want to bring in something like this. 2 more Murderous Riders for those kind of longer games with big creatures, big planeswalkers. Necromentia, if it's a very linear strategy, there's a particular card we want to name and get rid of. A couple Tibalts for the life gain strategy. You know, we're an aggressive list. We don't want our opponents gaining life and making huge pride mates and things like that. So we want to bring in some Tibalts to shut those strategies down. And then also there are obviously you know, Dimir Flash has kind of resurfaced, or it seemed like it's gained a little bit more popularity, and so Simic Flash is still a pretty reasonable strategy as well. So a couple Shifting Ceratops, so that way they can't just counter a Questing Beast or whatever. We can just bring this in instead. All right, that's the list. Jump into some matches, see how it goes. All right, against 2 feet. Gotta go first. Perfect. It's not ideal, but I mean, can't we say no to Cathwell, Murderous Rider, and Questing Beast? And we have a 2-drop here as well. So I guess we just Temple and shock in the Blood Crypt and let our opponent think we're holding up a removal spell and flash in the Paragon. Yeah, we already have 4 lands, so we are absolutely set. We scryed away a Stomping Ground and found a Stomping Ground. How often does that actually happen in Paper Magic? It happens all the time on Arena. It's very weird. Alright, mono red Cathartic Reunion, discarding a Chromatic Orrery. Alright, we'll flash this in, then they can't shock it or anything. Fabled Passage. I kind of want to play that just to thin the deck, but I guess we just, are they running creatures? Probably not. Maybe we do Fabled Passage just to get some lands out since we're flooding a little bit. Well, the nice thing is that all these dual lands, but lands are lands. Oh, Legion War Boss. Okay, so was not expecting that. Would have loved to have been able to kill this War Boss before they get a token. Yeah, we'll grab a green source. I guess we'll just Questing Beast here. Hold up in the Blacklance on defense. I was not expecting Legion War Boss with a Chromatic Orrery. That's interesting. Rakish. Okay, so maybe it's a good thing we held up the Murderous Rider. Here you go, opponent. Get in with those 2 tokens. We can block 1. You have to attack with 1. They probably should have attacked with both of them, I think. There. I mean, we're not inclined to block with our 3/1. And they concede. I guess Dracuseth is kind of their big... I guess War Boss is like a distraction or something. Okay, we'll take it. Alright, up against Wall. If we were on the draw, I might keep this, but... don't think we can. Alright. This is pretty reasonable. We'll bottom a Fabled Passage here, shock in for a Knight. Guess it's kind of a guessing game which one to lead on. If we do find a 2-drop, we'll just shock in, and it's not the worst. But otherwise, we just go Fabled Passage. It is a 2-drop. Overgrown Tomb in Urine. What's Fabled Passage? I think I'd rather get this Spellbreaker online. That's super annoying with with Urine, so this could be pretty annoying. I guess we'll grab a Forest. Robber's pretty decent. Let's do that. We'll see what our opponent's doing. We have 1,000,000 cards in hand, so we'll see what's on top. Omen of the Hunt. They didn't even block. Do we just Omen here and protect from a board wipe? If the robber lives? Might be worthwhile. 4-drop? Yeah, I think we'll do that. Could kill it before combat. That Ebon Legion's a good target too. We'll activate. No reason to add to the board. So Abzan Urian. Alright, I just wanted to keep that alive so they get through for damage. Makes sense. Oh, Haste then. I'm sure there's a board wipe in there somewhere. Got him down to 7. We do have some nice follow-up if we can keep these cards in hand. They're missing white for Shatter the Sky. I'll attack. What do you got? You gotta block something. You're gonna kill something? You're gonna make a token. 2 tokens. And gain some life. That's pretty annoying. A triple block. I guess we have to discard. We'll discard a Thieves Guild. I like to play a standard bearer, especially if they do. I could see like Ritual Set or something. Obviously, Extinction Event would be pretty bad. So we have a 1 and a 3-drop. Casualties of War. That's super annoying. Obviously, opponent's deck isn't quite good enough for competitive queue, but still pretty obnoxious in the unranked. Let's fire off this Omen of the Hunt. No. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Misclick. Alright. Well, they're down to 3. 2 cards in hand. Okay, Urian to hand. Anything else? They're just going to try to play it next turn and flicker. Alright, we got there. Oh no, we're missing... Yeah, that misclick. We would have killed them this turn if we had gotten a mountain, which is what we were missing. Yeah. Sure, you kill my thing, we'll use both of yours. Let's draw 2 cards. I mean, these tokens, they're going to flicker with Urian. We'll just chump off the Ambusher all day. So obviously, Omen grabbing a mountain was what I wanted to do there, but for some reason I just clicked on Forest so I could find the mountains, and then we would have been able to Colossus them. The collision side is hybrid, but the Colossus side is 1 of each. This is super suspect. But we'll attack. See what they got. Gotta force them to play whatever their spell is. You're just gonna Wolfwillow Haven? You can only do that sorcery speed, I believe. We're already representing lethal. Okay, I think they were trying to Wolfwillow and then realized that they couldn't do it at instant speed. Okay. Urian. I mean, those burglar rats and fenlurkers are pretty annoying. I don't think it's worth keeping removal spells in there just for those. We could blow up their enchantments so they can't flicker them, but that seems pretty underwhelming. Urian was their only big threat, so I'm not sure Murderous Rider's answer. It's in their companion zone, so we can't Necromentia it. I don't really see too much life gain other than the Omen, so not worried about Tibalt. Guaranteed they're going to have some Shatter the Skies or things like that. Could be Eat to Extinction as a removal. That would kind of suck. Blacklance is pretty worthless against their 1/1 tokens and everything, so we'll take that out and bring in the Heroic Interventions and hope that's good enough. We won game 1, so obviously we have a little bit of breathing room if we don't quite sideboard correctly. If we do need the Return to Natures, but we'll see. We'll see how game 2 goes. We have 2 playable 1-drops on the draw, but it's pretty sketchy though. Obviously we need a second land just to Freebooter, and then we're still needing lands for these. Knight Ebon Legion is good. It's one reason to consider keeping a 1-lander. Pretty powerful if we do draw some lands, it's pretty powerful. So shouldn't keep it, but I'm a trained professional here, so yeah, Knight Ebon Legion, and we'll probably just Freebooter here next turn, so we can kind of see what they're up to and play around that. Gilded Goose is super annoying. Yeah, we'll let's get the Freebooter online, see what our opponent's up to, and kind of play around what they have in hand. We don't want them getting life. Vraska is a kill spell, but it's not till turn 4. Although, Gilded Goose, that means they can play it now, I guess, if they have a land. But now Vraska comes down and it has to kill. I guess Thieves Guild is pretty medium here. I'd rather the Spellbreakers and the we'll haste that in. They're going to have all the removal in the world, so we just need to get in for damage where we can. Alright, get through for enough damage to counter on our Knight of the Ebon Legion. Stuck on 2 lands. I mean, you're playing Urian, so I don't really feel bad for you. Questing Beast, never say no to that. Gets around Vraska. They can't block it. Just gonna take the block on the Freebooter. Alright, still got your Gilded Goose around, so you just need to draw land into Vraska. And then what do you kill? The Knight? Questing Beast kills Vraska, and then we just Spellbreaker with Haste, and I believe they're dead. Alright, they see the writing on the wall. Sweet. Alright, we're going to Boneless Sea. Gonna go first. We'll keep. Obviously missing in green. But pretty solid otherwise, I think. Attack. Okay. Nothing from our opponent so far. I mean, we do need lands. So I guess we'll keep it. And we'll flash in the Thieves Guild, and then we have a Murderous Rider now with this land. Oh, Scry, yes. Keep top. Sweet. Really? Playing Burglar Rat and all that nonsense? Maybe discard? Oh, we'll discard these Collision Colossus. Another Charming Prince. Scry 2. Top, top. Gonna block it. Pass turn. See if there's 2 colors here or 3. Orzhov. Doom Foretold. Fire this off. By Charming Prince. Now your Doom Foretold is going to be sacrificed. We'll sack our Thieves Guild. Cool. Okay, we can activate plus Colossus here, getting for quite a bit of damage. Okay, burn it down to 6. Sack your Doom Foretold. Another one. Flash us in response, sack the Paragon. Man, these decks are super annoying. Blacklance was clutch there, but I don't think it's worth it. Keeping in. Obviously those creatures are pretty annoying. I just want the trophies to deal with either the enchantment or the creatures. They're going to have some sweepers here as well. Alright, let's bring in Freebooter. Let's bring in the Return to Nature. We want all the enchantment hate we can get. Are there 3 other spells we can shave off here? We're at 26 creatures. Can we afford to shave off these Thief Guild? I guess. Bring in the Necromancer, try to name Doom Foretold. And Heroic Intervention to protect us from Shatter the Skies. Hopefully that's good enough. Doom Foretold can be pretty annoying. It's a pretty powerful start. We don't have any of our sideboard tech, but other than that, it's pretty looks pretty solid. So we will see if we can go for the aggro plan. Might not be good enough if they just curve out here perfectly, but we'll give it a go. Ooh, Robert too. Yeah, I think we were too worried about our life total. Get a land, so hopefully they needed that. Hopefully. Okay, Elspeth's Nightmare. That's annoying. Spellbreaker. Haste. Hit you for 5. Oh, we got a Liliana. That's cute. Alright, they're gonna take our Questing Beast here. Oh, Colossus. They just ignored Questing Beast. So they have Shatter. Basilica Bellhaunt. And Concede. Okay, so you go up to 17. You have 4 toughness, so we can't attack into it. We Fabled Passage, crack the passage for a green source, play a Questing Beast, hit you for 4. You could block it, especially if you have a Shatter the Sky or something. I don't understand that Concede there. They're going to have more discarded, so we probably don't even get the draw off the Standard Bearer. Well, actually, that's probably... yeah, that's what we're going to be discarding there anyway. So yeah, we lose our Standard Bearer in response to the Basilica Bellhaunt. So yeah, I don't understand that Concede. Maybe they just had all lands, or... I don't know. Alright, up against Bless Beard. Gotta go first. The hand seems pretty solid. It's going to be shocking here, but that's alright. Some nice creatures here. Paragon, Spellbreaker, Eliminate, and Murderous Rider as removal. Hand seems pretty good. If our opponent's ready to play Magic. You ready? There we go. Can't we say no to Questing Beast, can we? Obviously we need another land to get there. We have double green, so any land will do. Serrated Scorpion. Alright, so it's like a sacrifice deck. We'll see what they play before we Paragon or Eliminate. Showing mono black so far. Probably need to kill this knight. We'll shock. Wanted to play that tap just to flash in the Paragon, but we probably just need Murderous Rider open here. Play a Blacklance Paragon at sorcery speed. Okay. I'm not sure I understand that. Well, we have our own. But we have some tricks up our sleeve. Block? Yeah, 20, I'm at 14. Do you really need to block here? You don't really need to block here when you're winning the race. Yeah. Especially you can just hold this Serrated Scorpion back anytime to ping me for 2 while you gain 2. Rankle. Bye, Rankle. We take 2 more down to 12. Our opponent definitely has a big advantage on the life race. So I don't love shocking in all those lands, but I felt like it was worth it for the tempo. Okay, holding the Scorpion back. Alright, so we can maybe we Heartless Act Paragon? Let's play the Murderous Rider. We're down to 9. Let's just try to gain some life. Trying to decide if I want a Spellbreaker there or just swing in with the Colossus and trample through for damage. And then Thieves Guild Enforcer, or hold up in Heartless Act and Thieves Guild. But this is a little bit better because we have the Murderous Rider now. If that lives, then we can life gain with the Collision Colossus and gain what, 6 life. That could be pretty important. Obviously, we're not blacking the Blacklance Paragon here. We want to keep that alive. All right, well, they kill our Murderous Rider, so there goes that plan. They take 2, but they're in a pretty decent spot here. So we force some removal out of them, and they have a Timorite, which is a 2/4, and can gain them life for by exiling if we let them untap with it. Yeah, we're not in a good spot here. Yeah, we'll take 1. I don't want them to untap, so I'm going to destroy the Timorite. See, there are 3 cards in their graveyard, so a long way to go for this Thieves Guild. So they have a Murderous Rider in the exile, and they have 1 card in hand. What do you got? So obviously we're not in a good spot, but we're not out of it yet. We have lots of good cards in hand. Okay, they play Murderous Rider, and we still don't know what the card is. Let's Thieves Guild, and we'll block the Blacklance. Could be a kill spell, but we'll try to block the Blacklance Paragon with it. Want to keep this alive as long as possible. It's going to maybe deter them from attacking with the Murderous Rider. Maybe. We'll just play the Spellbreaker. Man. We'll haste it in. We need to try to put some pressure on them. I need to try. We're kind of racing the Scorpion, really. Because they can, once they feel like they're at a disadvantage, they can hold it back at any time. You can't kill the Spellbreaker. It has Hexproof right now. Yeah, it's another Murderous Rider. Alright, so we lose our Blacklance, and they go to 10, but they're going to swing in for 3 here, gain 2 up to 12, and they have another 2/3 lifelinker. So we're in a pretty bad spot. We're a little bit stuck on lands and just had a lot of early game pressure. So undoubtedly they have another kill spell, and we're just dead here. Questing Beast. You have your third Murderous Rider here. Questing Beast and them not having removal is pretty much the only thing gonna have a chance, but mono black, that's asking a little bit too much. So yeah, it's gonna die to another Murderous Rider or Heartless Act. Nope. It's not right now. It's a kill spell in their hand, undoubtedly. I don't know why they didn't use it there. Maybe it's Eliminate. I can eliminate our Spellbreaker now. If they swing all, we're virtually dead with this Serrated Scorpion. We are virtually dead. Unless they're just two lands in their hand. Okay, so they're effectively at 12? No? And we're going to block the Murderous Riders. If we can untap with these creatures, or even just the Questing Beast, that's 12 damage. So we have lethal. If they don't have removal, we have lethal. But 2 cards in hand against mono black. That is asking way too much. I'm not giving that life. You have to earn it. It's got to be removal in their hand. Alright, we'll make them have it. Because we'll be bluffing some lands. Spellbreaker does have... so they're going to gain... Well, those already have lifelink, so they're going to give that lifelink. Sure. They can block the Questing Beast. So that throws off our math, so we don't have quite lethal. Wait, what? At 11? And this has hexproof right now, and we're hitting you for 11. So I think our opponent outthought themselves. I'm dying to know what they had in their hand. Oh, you already made your decision, opponent. Yeah, you're dead. Wow, that was super. That was close. Oh boy, mono black. This is going to be rough. This is going to be rough. I mean, these 1/1s don't really feel great here. If they're just playing target removal, then I don't love Heroic Intervention. It's tempting to bring in a Tibalt. It is tempting to Tibalt. Do we want both Embercleaves? Alright. Let's bring in the Murderous Riders. We need all their removal, I think. Ceratops is nice because it's a big creature, but they have all that death touch and everything too. It could potentially block the Rankle. Obviously, Rankle is not to be trifled with. God, Embercleave could be so clutch here. Yeah, this is rough. Robber can block the Rankle. There are lots of ways of killing the Rankle. I mean, that lifelink would have really thrown us off, so I feel like I want to bring in a Tibalt. Trophy, I mean, we have the creature removal with eliminates Heartless Act, Murderous Rider, so I don't think trophy is necessary. I don't know if there's anything in particular we want to name with Necromentia. Maybe they're running Grey Merchant. I think Ceratops is kind of the only other thing that I'd like to bring in. But I think the flash of Nightpack Ambusher and the Power of Questing Beasts are just too good to not to. I'll leave those in. If anything, maybe take it out Embercleave for some Shifting Ceratops. Maybe that's just maybe doing a little bit too much. So once again, we have to be shocking in. Alright, they got the Gutter Bones. Alright, we found our Collision Colossus. That's pretty clutch. We have a turn 2 kill spell if we want. Oh man, taking 6 points of damage is pretty rough. We're not going to block because that just comes back as a threat. They don't even do anything here. Man. Don't think we can afford to shock him. We're taking 2 damage off this turn 1 Gutter Bones. And we have all these shock lands in hand. Okay. Hit us for 5. That's pretty nasty. Just hold up and eliminate. We need some black mana for this Murderous Rider. Oh god, Rankle. Yeah, we're pretty much toast here. Well, we'll kill the Gutter Bones. Well, we could have waited, let them... No, that would have been too much damage. This thing, we almost could have waited for them to do that, and maybe they go sack a creature, and we kill their thing in response, but we're pretty much dead at that point. And this way they can't actually do anything. Let's discard the Nightpack. If we don't draw lands, then it's kind of worthless. Yeah, it's going to give him too much value, so we need to deal with that. I mean, we've ran them out of resources, as far as they don't have an empty board. They do have 2 cards in hand. Oh, we can't block, so let's attack. We're effectively at 7 here. Wildborn Preserver can be flashed in, and they has reach, as is Robber. But Robber they could kill, potentially. Although they have plenty of instant speed removal anyway. It has Trample too, so they do go for the Embrace. Then we're a pretty bad spot. So that's 7. We take... Yeah, we can't even Murderous Rider it. Yeah, we're just dead. Wow. They had a perfect start there. I mean, Gutter Bones and all that. That's rough. Alright. So it's another reason maybe bring in Ceratops, but I don't think our curve can really justify it in that matchup. Just super aggro. Like if you're stuck on 3 lands and you're waiting to hit your 4th and 5th lands to cast it and then have mana open to activate, you're probably not going to be getting the value you want out of it. Unfortunately, we have to put the Ambusher away. Alright, what's Knight here? Yeah, it's pretty awkward. Having a Fabled Passage to get a red source, or we could just draw one. That works. That works. Yeah, we'll attack. We got our land off of them. Hopefully they were in need of that. No blocks. Sure. Turn 2, what do you got? Obviously we need our creatures to live here to get some Colossus value, but they have the Eliminate. So this is not going our way. I'm gonna see the right on the wall here with this hand and this matchup. They don't even attempt to I'd rather Temple. Not gonna say no to that. Alright, so we have a kill spell now. Potentially 2 with the Colossus, which we can do against Rankle, since it's just the collision side is a hybrid to destroy a creature with flying, which can be used on Spawn or Rankle. Both pretty powerful targets. Or Spawn is nice because it's not legendary, whereas Rankle is, so... Alright, well, we'll attack. And we got the mana open to activate. And Blacklance Paragon. Do we kill that? No, just activate. And gain 3 life. You're a very clever opponent. Alright. Yeah, it's pretty rough. We have some pretty nice tools in our deck, but when we get off to starts like this, I mean, Nightpack Ambusher obviously gives you late game value. But if we draw a quest means off the top, they're going to have a Murderous Rider or something to kill it immediately. Yeah, the high toughness here from Timra even. Not even attacking. Like, why would you not attack there? I don't understand. I literally do not understand why no attacks there. There's literally no reason not to. If I haste something in, you have the 3 toughness from Timret to block it. Which neither of these can even block a questing beast. You just want to exile stuff? Sure. Alright, well, mono black aggro putting in work. Jund Flash. Just not quite good enough. We have the tools where I definitely believe this deck can put in work. You know, pretty reasonable opening hands and good starts, but if we struggle at all, then we're kind of screwed. We can kill that, so prevent some damage, but that doesn't matter. We have no more creatures left. We can play this Murderous Rider, but they're going to kill it. We have this Timret, it's going to gain him a ton of life. Play you and play you. Got a couple creatures online, but our opponent's such an advantage here. Got high enough life total that they're going to draw into their big creatures, their removal spells, and yeah. We don't really have much card draw unless we can find a Blacklance, Liliana Standard Bearer or something like that. And even then, it's only based on creatures dying. So yeah, we're in a rough spot. But yeah, mono black aggro is a very strong list. And we're playing some jank in the ranked play queue, so what do you expect? Alright, Blacklance Paragon. We have 6 mana to sink into it. They're going to kill whatever here, so no reason to do anything. They're not even attacking in when they have good attacks. They're just staying back because they know they can just kill all of our stuff. Having the Blacklance Paragons every time. Okay, opponent. I mean, surely you got a plan for what you want to block here. Yep, you got me. Master, no reason to Colossus. I mean, they're at 25. We need to kill him with that, or use it as a kill spell. And no reason to play the Blacklance Paragon at sorcery speed. Yeah, we need removal for Timret so they don't gain life. We need removal for their Rankles and their Spawn of Mayhems so they don't just kill us with these big beefy flyers. I mean, they still have 3 cards in hand. And we're empty-handed now. And they just Demonic Embrace on the Knight of Ebon Legion and start crashing through for a ton of damage. I think the Wildborn Preserver could put in some work for us if we can find another creature off the top that's not a human, which most of our creatures are not. Okay, Rotting Regisaur, you can do that too. We have Eliminates. Have we found any? No, we just have the Colossus. So. They attack in with 1 open mana. Cool. We'll take that block. So now we get to do something tricky. Feels good. After getting blown out by Blacklance Paragon twice already, but we just draw land. So, yeah. They do have to discard something, but then they just discard anything and Demonic Embrace. You're running Duress against me? I'm mostly creatures and you're playing Duress. We'll say no blocks. We can block it next turn, maybe, hopefully. It's a land. We'll gain some life, hit you for 5. Make him think we have something. I mean, we pretty much have to have Eliminate to get rid of this Regisar. Or some way to kill this Regisar. No, we can't even attack. And we stay drawing lands. Right, well, we'll attack for the Murderous Rider to gain 2. Play land, and now our opponent probably knows we don't have anything. If they discard and play the second Embrace, then yeah, we're just dead. There you go for a Murderous Rider instead. Yeah, they had us dead there so many ways. Alright. Yep, mono black aggro is a good deck, so no shame in losing to that. Pretty frustrating though. I mean, our deck is pretty there's some nice stuff going on with our deck. I definitely happy with it. Obviously it's not the most competitive. Anytime you're in a 3-card aggro list, you're going to struggle with consistency with the mana base and things like that. But I feel like I've done the best I could to kind of keep it pretty streamlined. So we're kind of base black, but you can still do like Quest and Beasts, Nightpack Ambushers, things like that. Unfortunately, most of the matches ended pretty quickly, so we didn't really get to see the Nightpack Ambusher in action or really much tricky stuff. Just so much removal and stuff like that. It's hard to in the annoying discarded stuff. They don't really get to see some of the late game stuff that this deck can do. So it's kind of nice because you can be this really aggressive deck with Knight of the Ebon Legion, Robber of the Rich, Gruul Spellbreaker, Questing Beast, but you can also be this kind of late game deck with like Nightpack Ambushers, flashing in Wildborn Preservers, Thief Gilded Enforcers, Standard Bearers, and doing some things like that, and then really aggressive plays with Embercleave and the Collision Colossus, which I'm still a big fan of. I know everybody's kind of gravitated towards Embercleave and just completely forgotten about Collision Colossus, but it's still a really sweet card. Just 2 mana for either half of this is really great, but yeah, we do have the Embercleaves in here as well. But it's it's board dependent on you having multiple creatures out to actually reduce the casting cost to make it actually viable. But obviously, if you're like in mono red, then of course you're just stacking with millions of little 1- and 2-drop creatures and annexes and things like that. But obviously, we're doing something a little bit different here, so that's why just 2 copies. Yeah, things just didn't quite line up for us, but definitely a lot of fun with this list. Things do go your way. You can do some really crazy stuff with this particular build, and there's definitely some ways you can. Originally in the earlier build, I had like Growth Chamber Guardian, which is a it's a 2/2 for 2, and then you can pay 3 to adapt it, and put 2 counters on it, and draw another Growth Chamber Guardian. So it's like you attack with Knight of Ebon Legion, which has activated ability. You attack with your Growth Chamber Guardian, which has activated ability, and then your partner saying no, like which one to block, because you can activate either one of them, or you can just play like a Collision Colossus, or any number of things, right? So just kind of that sort of idea of making it very tricky for your opponent to block correctly. But yeah, unfortunately, we just weren't really able to be the aggressor in some of those matchups, and yeah, it's gonna happen sometimes, but. We do have these nice 1-drops. We have a mana base that favors playing these spells on turn 1. Obviously, we do have a couple of tap lands with the temples, but just 2 of, and we have the Fabled Passages here. So it can be a little awkward sometimes if you have too many of these in your opening hand. But overall, I think it works pretty well as far as the 3-card aggro list. There's definitely, like I said, there's some fun stuff you can do. Not quite good enough for competitive play, as you saw. We kind of struggled in some of those matchups, but the deck can do some fun stuff, but it feels a little bit too strong for the unranked queue. We have these kill spells and flashing in. People don't like Questing Beasts and Ambushers and Embercleaves in the unranked play queue sometimes, so it can be a little bit difficult to find good matchups there. So Once again, it's kind of in the mid range, which I tend to do, where it's not quite good enough for ranked, but it's a little bit maybe too good for the unranked play queue as well. But yeah, super fun list. Definitely some fun things you can do here. Obviously, a lot of these cards are going to be rotating. Like Knight of Ebon Legion is pretty clutch card. Spellbreaker is pretty clutch card. Nightpack Ambusher is going away, but there's still a decent shell here, so maybe. But it doesn't seem like there's really much support in Zendikar for any kind of a flash or hasty threats. At least not enough to make something like this viable, but maybe in Historic we'll revisit this at some point. So until then, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, make sure you jank with